Hi people, me again of course as always, and as usual, Moino Ravenberg. I'll be covering another Goetic spirit in this segment. It's going to be the spirit by the name of Naberius, Goetic spirit 24, or spirit from the Goetia 24. The 24th spirit is Naberius. He is a most valiant marquis, and show it in the form of a black crane fluttering about the circle. And when he speaketh, it is with a hoarse voice. He maketh men cunning in all arts and sciences, but especially in the art of rhetoric. For those of you that don't know what the art of rhetoric means, it simply stands for the art of persuasion. So, any way, shape, or form in which you can persuade a person, but the most common form of persuasion is essentially wooing someone with your words, like a politician woos a crowd, for example. Um, he restored, sorry, he restored lost dignities and honors. He governed 19 legions of spirits. His seal is this, which is to be won, etc. I repeat, 19 legions, not 90, 19 legions. Um, in case you heard 90. In any case, now, so yeah, let's dive right in, as is usually the case. Naberius is a pagan god. He stems from, based on my research, and everything that I'm about to say is obviously based on my own research. Naberius, and that I confirmed and everything. He's a pagan god. He stems from Southeast Asia. There is no specific modern day country equivalent or country based equivalent, but the closest you would come to would be Japan. Think every country within a wide radius of Japan, Korea, so South Korea and whatnot, and it just goes on. But in any case, Southeast Asia, and again, he's a pagan god. He does appear indeed as a black crane, but I wouldn't classify it so much as a crane as he appears as a more of a black shoe bill. For those of you that don't know what a shoe bill is, just Google shoe bill, and you'll see like a heavy metal ass looking bird, like a big bird with a wide beak and whatnot. That looks quite menacing in nature, but that isn't necessarily menacing. It's just the appearance. He looks like the black equivalent thereof. And the part about him flying in the circle and whatnot, yeah, when you summon him, he does have a strong tendency to fly around, like go circles around you. All the while standing still, obviously, at the same time. So it's like two parts of him. Like one is standing still, and the other one is like circling around and or about. He likes to move around. Um, Let me see what else needed to be said. Now, as for his alleged specialty mentioned in the Goetia, this is true, but there is a big but. Naberius isn't the strongest, no offense to him, but compared to, especially for example, mainstream pagan gods like the ones from the Norse and or Egyptian and whatnot pantheon, think Thor, Odin, Loki, Set, Isis, Horus, Osiris, you name it, he is lacking in power and considerably at that. So he does, again, no offense meant towards him. Yeah. He does, he can teach you all of these things, and especially the art of rhetoric and whatnot, how to be persuasive, how to be a smooth talker and whatnot. Essentially, um, turning you into kind of like a therapist-like figure, where with eloquent speech and whatnot, you'll be able to win people over to your way of thinking. But that's not specifically how Naberius works. Naberius specifically works by essentially, rather than making you eloquent regarding speech, he will make it so that you express yourself in an assertive manner with a considerable amount of aggression behind it, or at the very least a decent amount of aggression, or just plain aggression behind it, to the point where you will come off just like that. Okay, you'll essentially wow people by and win people over to your way of thinking by being assertive and aggressive and showcasing a level of assertiveness and straightforwardness and bluntness that may make it so that they will actually listen to what you have to say and will be heavily inclined or just plain be inclined to agree with you. But again, like I said, Naberius is not the strongest, to put it that way. So don't expect wonders when working with Naberius for the aforementioned specialty or specialties. So in actuality, Naberius has no serious specialties. He has no real specialties. Like, don't expect tremendous wonders. Don't expect to turn into a suave, smooth politician or a politician that can take on the world. Like, no. You know, Naberius will do exactly as I described earlier, and that's pretty much it. So you can expect moderate results from Naberius. Um, and an elaboration on his paganness. Um, like I already said earlier, he's a pagan slash pagan god slash thought form from some Southeast Asia region around Japan and whatnot, and in Japan. But he was an undocumented god. He was essentially a thought form that people simply called upon, loosely put, for advice and whatnot. For example, they wanted Naberius to, for example, advise them on certain matters and or give them the power to essentially become persuasive, but more in the aforementioned manner, like through bluntness and straightforwardness, as in, hey, listen, I said this is the way things are going to be, and that's it. This is how things are going to be, and it's because of this and this and that and that. The person doesn't actually have so much valid points as the person has. As the person is trying to essentially force their will upon people through aggression. Think of a parent disciplining their child, but not necessarily through making a valid point, but more through aggressive levels of coerciveness. That's the best way to put it. But Naberius in himself is quite reliable and honest and just. Like Naberius will never deceive you in a manner of speaking or similar or anything like that. Naberius corresponds to Mars, corresponding zodiac sign is Aries to be precise. Let me see what else I had to say. Hold on for a second, people. Oh yeah. You also, when working with Naberius, there is a not considerable, there is just a plain risk. Could be anything between minor and intermediary, but there is a risk, as is quite commonly the case with Martian spirits, especially those that correspond to Aries, of accidents or getting involved in accidents. So if you were to work with Naberius on a heavy set basis, you would be absorbing a lot of the aforementioned energy, which might cause, small things. Maybe you hitting your head by accident when opening a door, boom, out. Just briefly bumping your head or stuff like that, minor things. When for example, trying to grab something, you by accident like hit your hand briefly, like, ow. Like that. Oh yeah, and when interacting with Naberius, last but not least, point one, I can tell that he's a pagan god, and he's not even a strong pagan god at that, like I said. And his speech is quite not muffled, it's dumbed down. It's like you're literally talking to, like, I want to say almost like an animal. You're talking to an entity that has a limited consciousness or similar. He doesn't talk a lot, and even when you interact with him, interaction is minimal. We're talking about the conversational, intellectually speaking, the conversation is of a limited nature. It's again, it's like interacting with an 8-year-old, a 12-year-old, etc. Again, obviously for the last time, not meant negatively towards him. And that's all. Bye bye.